I've been learning myself through loving you, tracing back to who I was before. Finding pieces I never knew were missing, till you showed me there was more. And I could say I need you, but that's not big enough. I could say I feel you in everything I touch. In other words, you're the reason I'm awake now. In other words, you're the mirror I was looking for. In other words, when I'm searching through the silence, you're what I've been trying to say all along. In other words, you're everything. I was half alive, just going to me from the shore. Now I'm standing here completely open, learning how to want something more. And I could say you changed me, but that's not quite the truth. You helped me find the parts of me that always looked for you. In other words, you're the reason I'm awake now. In other words, you're the mirror I was looking for. In other words, when I'm searching through the silence, you're what I've been trying to say all along. In other words, you're everything. How the word, how do I tell you that I'm different when you're near? That I've become someone who's brave enough to fear. All these years I was running from the very thing I need. You taught me how to stay. In other words, you're the reason I'm alive now. With the words, you're the answer I've been aching for. In other words, this longing in the quiet was just another way of saying you're my home. In other words, you're everything. Everything. You're everything to me.